Okay, everybody, the game is about to start. The Thundercats are playing today against the Outlaws. That's a game that you've probably already seen a few days ago because it was also played during the qualifier for Gamescom. This is the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final, on the other hand, and I have bad news for all Thundercats fans. The team more or less disbanded, and today we are going to see a completely new Thundercats. I have absolutely zero idea who's playing for them right now. It was a little bit chaotic leading into the first draft here, so we're going to find that out together during, in the game itself, actually. As far as I know, Hydra is currently playing here. We have Venom apparently on the side of the Thundercats. The Outlaws, of course, still in their usual roster, quite strong, as they already proved during the qualifiers. That was pretty solid. But this is going to be a very interesting one. The Thundercats, therefore, with the new setup, unfortunately, the team decided to not stick together, to disband, and now the Thundercats name, it still prevails, but with a different team. Karrigan, first of all, banned here in the first pick on Greymane on Infernal Shrines, with Khaldor also being banned out by the Outlaws. I would say that Falstad is a very solid pick for them at this point. Could actually see something along the lines of a Falstad and maybe even an ETC here. With ETC, of course, oftentimes you try to go for a Khaldor's comp. Don't really have to go for him, and they actually don't. They actually seem to try and rotate a bit with Azul. Zul and ETC taken. Now that's also a bit of lockdown that they have here, which means that Falstad is still open, Greymane taken, and apparently the Thundercats with their new lineup are prioritizing the Tyrael quite highly right now. So for me personally, the question is still, what are they going to do in regards to Falstad? Are they going to ignore him right now, ban him out maybe? Or are they just like locking him down at this point? I mean, if you don't go Falstad, what do you add as damage later on? You can either go for Lunara, I suppose. You could go for Li Ming. Those would be the like your standard picks on a map like Infernal Shrines. But Falstad is just adding so much value, and especially if Azul is already pushing against you, unless you're completely willing to commit to a Sylvanas and attempt to just burst waves away, maybe even with unstable poison on level 7, even though it fell out of fashion a bit, then you are more or less forced into a Falstad because he has that global presence. They are going for that strong frontline again, a double warrior, and apparently the choice is between a Leoric and an Arthas. I could see a Rhaegar pick here too, the good old support game that you're playing, but apparently they're really trying to lock down the double frontline, make sure that they're also getting good support in. They actually prioritize Rhaegar over Arthas, which is more or less now all of a sudden risking that Arthas is either going to be banned or taken by the Outlaws. Because with ETC already taken, if you go for an Arthas with this comp as well, you basically rely on a single backline damage dealer, on a single range damage dealer, but you have with then Arthas, ETC, and Zul, or with a double tank plus Zul, a very heavy front line, which can kind of keep anybody in the back line safe. So if you play Lunara, for example, there's a lot of heroes that can actually appeal for her. They decide against that and ban her out, which I find interesting. I really thought that Lunara would be a good pick for the Outlaws in this setup, even against the Rhaegar. TC, on the other hand, the Thundercats, they're getting rid of Sonya first of all. They already banned out Karrigan, so apparently they really want to make sure that there's not another melee assassin or bruiser type at the front line of the Outlaws. And Sonya, of course, has a solid positioning on Infernal Shrines in general, and is very good with just taking control over a shrine and going for the wave clear. Then also with like the level 4 talent that she has, Whirlwind in particular, of course, as an ability. Sylvanas is another decent ban here, so it's not really to decide that right now. But with Zul already in the rotation, they apparently just said, okay, we're a bit too scared that Zul is now going to be picked together with Sylvanas, and then all of a sudden we're not only seeing one guy that can just burst down these waves and push us on 2 lanes at the same time, but Sylvanas is going to get extra value from the Punisher, and that is a little bit too much pushing power for our liking. So the Outlaws now, first of all, I really want to see if they go into a second tank, or if they're just simply saying, hey, Zul is fine here. If they go, for example, into an Arthas with this particular setup, then they have an absolute frightening control already with that front line. ETC Arthas with Lockdown, Azul with the Bone Prison, then you would only rely on a single damage dealer in the back, but you could play with the Falstad here. I mean, once again, Lunara has been banned, Falstad is still available, which blows my mind, to be honest with you. I mean, we're talking Infernal Shrines here, and it's currently already, we are past the second ban phase, and Falstad has still not been touched. So it's a bit crazy to actually see that happening here right now. I feel Falstad at this point would definitely be a great pick, but they decide in favor of Li Ming. So they have still to answer the question if they are going to try and yeah, set up a second front line. The problem that I have with Li Ming is that she's usually not that great on Infernal Shrines. She's not like garbage or anything. We went over this in the past. The problem with Li Ming here is that you oftentimes have trouble getting your spells in against the opponent's backline or the heroes because there's so many minions on the shrines and most of the fights are happening around the shrine that oftentimes a lot of the damage is soaked by those minions and you can't really get that in. I mean, a good Li Ming player is going to play around that, so it's not like the hero is useless here or anything, but it's definitely a bit more tricky. And if they're still thinking about adding a second frontliner, then that would mean that they only have a Li Ming in the back. But they go for Sonya, and so they go for a bit more of an aggressive stance here. I like that pick, and I really feel like TC should have maybe even banned her out here. They decided in favor of Sylvanas, and I can understand why the thought process is pretty clear here with that Zul already on the board. But now ETC, Sonya, and Zul, it's pretty scary. It's pretty strong front line. Li Ming for the backline damage. Arthur's now taken. And please, for the sake of God, someone finally locked down that Falstad. I can't believe that we don't see that bad boy yet. Yes, Gathering Storm was nerfed a little bit, but I mean, come on, even if you go Seasoned Marksman as level 1 talent, you can still go for Boomerang. And they go for Tychus. I mean, it's not a bad pick, don't get me wrong, you have a lot of frontliners here, but it's just mind-blowing that Falstad hasn't been chosen yet. Against an ETC, that would be another very safe interrupt with the Mighty Gust as well, once that ETC threatens the Mosh Pit, and you have very good wave clear too. The global presence alone is just absolutely fantastic against Azul that's going to try and push you the entire time, so you can actually rotate to the shrine, fight a little bit, and if need be, you fly onto the lane and depush. This is, of course, going to be a support pick now for the Outlaws, and it looks very much like we are going to see Karazim here. I mean, you can't really... Well, you could go into an Uther, I suppose, but Karazim has a little bit more presence there. It's a very melee-heavy setup than on the other hand, so... They take Karazim, and with that, we are having a very solid front line for them. I like the Arthurs on the other hand. Tychus and Greymane can do a lot of damage. So yeah, we're going to jump into the first game. We're also going to find out who's going to play for the Thundercats here today. And of course, they're going up against the Outlaws as Infernal Shrines is our first map in the Best of 3 series. Actually, forget what I just said. This is not a best of 3. We're actually in the quarterfinal right now. This is a best of 1. Best of 3 starts in the semi-final. So sorry for that. We have a single map between these two teams, and only one of them can, of course, advance to the semi-final. So yeah, we're going to jump into Infernal Shrines any moment now. Alright, boys and girls, we are ready, and well, I took the liberty and actually renamed the Thundercats, because there's not a single player in this lineup that played for the Thundercats before. Not a single one. This is a completely different team, more or less. So I just renamed them. This is not the Thundercats. Those guys are the ThunderKittens. So, the ThunderKittens here with Hydra on Tychus, with a focus on Greymane. We have Andy Landy on Rhaegar, Costa on Tyrael, and Venom on Arthurs. As you can already tell, I mean, that's a lot of players that we already know, right? So those guys are not no-names, but I'm really curious to see what they can do here. The Kittens are going up against the Outlaws, and to the right side we have Devil on Zul, Duck on Sonya, Monster Bear on Karazim, Lichterloh on ETC, and Sir Ice Cream on Li Ming. So yeah, a little bit of Thunderkitten action here. First of all, going straight into the Shrug It Off instead of the Dash as the level 1 talent, so a bit more resistance here in this part. Even in Death taken for Tyrael, and we have the Eternal Hunger for Arthurs, the Lich King. And at the same time now, of course, we're looking at the other... Oh, the Howling Blast! Duck is in trouble. Spin, Sonya, spin. It's a double kill. Arthurs goes down, but so do Sonya and Karazim. And they're trying to get Costa as well, and indeed they do, but ETC is already obliterated. What is happening? They're just jumping into the middle of the map, and it's a slugfest. It's just all solo mid, all guys mid, and go for it. This is like an Aram that we're seeing here right now. They're just going full aggression in the mid lane. Yeah, that kind of hurt quite a bit. 3 kills against 2, 5 kills 1 minute into the game. Not too shabby. I can definitely deal with that. Well, that being said, we have on level 1 the Warpaint taken. We are seeing Power Hungry now too. And I mean, in this is still a best of 1, so keep that in mind, because, well, we are still in the quarterfinal of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly. But we have a couple of really nice semifinals already set up. I mean, no matter which one of these two teams is going to advance. My Insanity, for example, plays against, oh god, now I have to think about that name again. Excellent Election. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know it. I don't really care either. It's the Crowing Chickens with a new org and a new name, but it's basically just chicken style. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to call these guys later, but I'm not going to try and pronounce it every single time that I'm talking about the team. This is not going to happen. Well, that being said, though, we are still not at the semifinal just yet. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We are at the quarterfinal, and Phantom had to move back here on his Arthurs. You can see that both of the teams are starting to head into level 4 before they're going for the shrine here. Sonya, on the other hand, is already taking position there. And that's one of the fantastic things about having Sonya in the team. You can actually just simply take that shrine quite easily by yourself. But already the poke is happening as both teams are going straight into level 4, and that means Shattered Ground taken for Sonya as a level 4 talent. We're seeing Li Ming with Triumph Red, and we're having also the Truggles Essence now taken. But over here the action is already starting, and both of the teams are going full force. Phantom not making a choice yet, which is actually interesting. You would expect him to go for the extra damage on the Frozen Tempest. And if you don't, and there he is. If you don't go for the extra damage, then at least pick your Death Call at this point. I mean, there's basically only 2 variations on Arthurs these days on what you can do with a level 4 talent. Phantom is actually taking all the damage here. Locks down Li Ming, but whoa, nearly taken out by her. And Sir Ice Cream really wants him. So Ice Cream, yeah, looks like Li Ming wants to get herself a prince. And Arthurs is definitely a badass. I mean, he has the bad boy going for him as well. It's basically like if you're talking about dating material, I would actually expect that Arthurs and Illidan are the 2 that you're really looking out for, because let's face it, those 2 guys, that's definitely bad boy material right there. And we all know that girls like Li Ming and Vala, they dig the bad boys. That's how it's always been. Andy Landy currently pausing the game as we had apparently one of the guys jumping out, so yeah, focus disconnected. Greymane is the one who dropped out of the game, not Tyrael, in case that you were wondering, so it had nothing to do with the Tyrael death that just happened. We have also, at this point, well, at least the Punisher taken for the blue team. When it comes to kills, it's 3 versus 3 right now, because Tyrael just got blown to pieces, but the Punisher still ending up in the hands of the ThunderKittens. We're seeing at this point, when it comes to like talent, still level 4 for the 2 teams. A bit late the choice to go for the Biting Cold, but the standard talent still taken. The Swift Retribution also for the additional movement speed. And they should actually have a fairly easy time also to defend against the Punisher right now. Because, I mean, it's a 4 versus 5. There's not really too much that they can do. Tyrael died a bit of an unfortunate time. Dark is very low though, so they have to be careful with that. But as long as they bait the Punisher, it's totally fine. So right now, we're having the game continuing, and yeah, the ThunderKittens are actually taking a slight lead here. The Punisher's not going to do too much, but they should be able to at least go through 1 tower, and with Greymane putting the damage in, I suppose they might even have a chance to drop the entire wall. Hydra is already hard at work here, but yeah, they will have to back off. So the second tower is not going to fall immediately. Oh, well, maybe it is. With the minions now starting to focus it down, yep, they actually get it, so cool. Good experience for them. That worked out quite nicely. We're seeing Andy Landy currently down at the bot lane. We have Devil just like blasting the lanes away. And I mean, that's Zul's job, right? You rotate between 2 lanes. It was actually like a bit unfortunate for them that the shrine spawned in the middle and not at the top. Because if it would have spawned at the top, it could just simply have rotated between like the mid lane and the bot lane. And they didn't even have to fight for the Punisher. They would have gotten value out of that rotation with Zul anyways. But yeah, that being said, we're seeing up to the top now of Sonya just like sitting here, chilling, waiting for the experience to trickle in. We're seeing level 7 talents already ready for the ThunderKittens, and they go for the Icebound Fortitude. I like that a lot. Reciprocate is like the choice these days on Tyrael. Most of the players don't even go for the cooldown reduction anymore. And we have Quarter back plus the Cleanse on Rhaegar, who went of course into the Lightning Bond as his level 1 talent, just to get a bit more AoE damage out on the Shrine and make sure that they have an easier time grabbing that Punisher. So the rotations are happening to the top, and Hydra, yeah, is in a bit of a bad spot there. I'm sorry, dude, but you're not going to get away from this one. The Renegade is running, but he is already down. So yeah, Taika is blown to pieces. They're trying to rotate in to kill Lichterloh now, though, but that might not work out for him just yet. Lichterloh looks like he's heading for groupies again. At least he goes for that guitar solo build once more that he already used in some of the games yesterday. The Outlaws barely not qualifying here for Gamescom. We're seeing at the same time now the mid lane being pressured once more, and that's thanks to that siege camp that was taken a bit earlier. Shrine at the bot lane is now active, but still both of the teams on even experience. So there's no real lead or anything that one of the teams has just yet, but they could try and take that position a bit earlier. Zul is now in a spot where he can decide to rotate between lanes and start that push process. So they don't have to fully commit onto the Punisher just yet. And it seems like that's exactly what he's doing. We already have him up at the top lane. He's facing Tyrael. And the Shaman camp was, by the way, taken by the ThunderKittens. So that's very decent timing, because it's going to push that lane from here on out for a long, long time and try to get value out of that. Now Zul is still rotating between the lanes, but down here the fight is starting, and 20 minions against 6 give the Outlaws a quite decent lead right now. 4 kills against 3 thus far. Hydra taking the position. Devil has to move in now too to help out. Yeah, Phantom is very low. Sonya's trying to finish him off. And that's the end of Arthur's. But the counter kill against Li Ming. And Charism is also falling. Greymane is jumping the back line. And he is completely ripping them apart. A total beast here. Trying to go toe-to-toe with Sonya and with ETC now to get even more kills in. But they are starting to close the gap in minion stacks. And they will take that lead very soon now. Great play here on the side of the ThunderKittens. They're actually doing fairly well. So the Thundercats apparently couldn't play today, but the ThunderKittens are not doing too shabby either. So this team that just like formed 5 minutes ago, at least that's what it seems, is now in the lead, have level 10 first, win the second objective, and are starting to make their way over into the opponent's base again. So it's pretty impressive to actually see that. These guys are definitely not too bad. All of a sudden, the 10s are there for both teams, and that allows maybe a bit of a turnaround attempt. Not quite yet, though. Phantom is a bit deep here. He tries to go in. Yeah, there comes ETC. They have the mosh pit ready, but they don't go for it. Sanctification is being used. Mosh pit is in, but the Ancestral Healing is keeping Arthur safe. And guess who's going strong and ham? It is Greymane once again. Look at them. Barely escaping there. Lichterloh and Monster Bear just barely getting out of this one. It was a kill against Sonya that started all of this off with. And of course the Punisher in the meantime, good old John Cena, he wasn't really impressed there and he just said like, boys, you do what you want, I'm gonna go for that fort. So yeah, it's confirmed the Punisher, he hates forts. Top lane on the other hand, that's where we see Devil, so he's just like jumping around trying to get experience for his team. And he's pushing that in, but Hydra is ready at the wall to secure the XP for his team. And they are a level ahead at this point. So they went through the first fort, they are a level ahead, they're actually doing pretty good here. And now we have camps taken again. First of all, it's Greymane, Rhaegar is doing the same thing. It's basically everyone that's a wolf is currently going for camps. They're trying to steal those away. But Sonya is trying to at least counter pressure that a bit by going for their own camp. They didn't really get the chance to take the siege camp earlier on, so now they are taking that a bit late. They don't really time it with one of the events on the map. But again, Hydra too far out up to the top, and he won't be able to get out of this one. There's too many slows, too many stuns. Lockdown is there. And that's another kill against him. So now 6 kills against 6. And to be honest with you, I think so far Tychus, yeah, he died 2 times. He's the only backliner who actually died this often. Was isolated 2 times up at the top. And this is a massive push right now. This is solid value. And it forces Phantom on his Arthurs and also Costa to just deal with it somehow. And yeah, that's of course time that they really just need to stay up here. In the meantime, the mid lane got already obliterated, that little push that was going on for the ThunderKittens. The level 13 talents are soon going to be in play, and then we are going to see the next Punisher. So even though the first 2 Punishers ended up in the hands of the ThunderKittens and all of that just happened, I mean, like, there's no massive advantage yet. Experience is nearly the same. They're both looking for a bit of a fight. And they both do it just before level 13 hits, and Lichterloh gets palmed and is trying to get some value here. Already we're seeing the poison over, but this is bad news actually for the Outlaws. They're on the way back. The mosh pit is good though. Sanctification is in play, but still, this could turn around any moment. They're trying to jump in, and that's the end of Li Ming. There goes Tyrael. There goes Taika. Zul is dead too. It's a massacre. They're turning Infernal Shrines into a graveyard. Monster Bear is nearly dead. So is Andilendi, but both of them are still fighting here. Phantom nearly taking out Charism. They're still jumping on it. It's a 2 against 2, but the kill. No, not the kill. Phantom gets away for now. Locks down Duck, but there is Sonya. She has the survivability. Goes in and takes the kill. Arthur's also hasn't even taken his level 13 talent yet, so that was a bit of a problem. We had Sonya taking that immediately. And Sonya actually in this case went for the life funnel again. That's a bit more popular these days, and it definitely helped out in the last fight too. 9 kills versus 10, and now we are seeing both teams moving immediately up to the top lane where they are attempting to get the next Punisher here. So yeah, all of them are just like at each other's throat at this point, but this is still a 5 versus 4. The fight is actually a 4 versus 4 because Zul is down to the bottom. Duck is taken down, and oh, that is brutal. Monster Bear was about to palm Sonya. Sonya dies, and the palm goes on ETC instead. It's a very, very annoying mistake, and it's something that you can't really prevent from happening as a support if you don't time it perfectly. So right now they actually have to rotate away. The 4 versus 4 battle was lost, but they get value in the mid lane because Zul is already rotating between the lanes and is just making sure that they get extra push in. But they're just deciding to go for the fort here regardless. So all of a sudden the Outlaws actually getting massive damage in. And that is the moment where the ThunderKittens just say, you guys can deal with our fort at the bot lane, that's fine. We're just going to make sure that our Punisher doesn't even have to bother with fort number 1. We're going to take that apart too, so we're going to go trade for trade. If you look at experience though, it's a bit of a different story. Level 60 now, any moment, on the side of the Outlaws, and Zool is still doing work down here at the bottom of the map. He wants another fort, and even if he just goes, if he does go back right now, he will get extra damage in because of that wave. 16 is there, Punisher baited in. We're having now not only imposing presence, but Circle of Life, double imposing presence, and amplified damage. And with that being said, they are starting to go for that fight. Sanctification's on the ground, Mosh Pit is in, and that's a great Mosh Pit actually. That's an amazing one, catching nearly everybody. The Palm this time on Karazim triggered, and double kill against Greymane and Rhaegar. And there might be another one. Yes, Tyrael falls, and Venom is not going to get out of this fight anyway. Arthas is also dead. The only one that survives is Tychus right now. Very, very well done here by the Outlaws. Level 17 for now. They have the talent lead. They already took down 2 of the forts, the one in the middle and the one at the bottom, and they want to go for keep at this point. They're going straight towards the other side of the map. They don't waste any time with camps or anything else. They're saying, guys, rush that in. We can make this happen right now. Zool, in the meantime, was pushing out the bot lane even further. He's actually sticking with it even. He's not even joining up with the rest of the team. He's just saying, like, yeah, I got this. He pushed another wave back and is now finally making his way into the mid lane. They went through the wall. Couldn't really pressure the keep itself, but now it's 16 versus 16, and that just forces them back for now. Imposing will into Holy Ground, pre-standard on the side of Tyrael. We're seeing Arthas with Frigid Winds and with a Remorseless Winter, and I guess Rhaegar is... Good question actually, what is Rhaegar going to do? I don't really think he's going to go for the percentage damage on his wolf. I don't see that happening, so most likely we're going to see them, I guess, still with the Earthgrass Totem. I mean, you have a couple of choices on 16, I suppose, but I guess that would make the most sense. No, he actually goes for the Rising Storm. More damage. Arthas is going to be happy about it. Arthas and Greymane are very likely to be the recipients of that Lightning Shield. So far, not a single keep has fallen. The one at the top lane for the Outlaws has taken quite a bit of damage, but it isn't down yet. And as you can tell, there's also not a keep that has been destroyed yet on the side of the ThunderKittens. But we have a 2-level lead right now for the Outlaws, and that's where they are currently shining. 14 kills against 10. This is a really kill-heavy game. If you just look, we have 14 minutes into the game and we have 24 kills. So basically it's like, it's not quite 2 kills per minute, but it's close. And they are going, they are at it again. They're fighting. Here comes the Mosh Pit again. The Sanctification is in, but there's the kill against Tychus. Also, we're having the Poison Nova in play. Rhaegar is falling. Can't ancestor yourself anymore, buddy. The Palm is strong on Devil. Phantom about to fall. Costa still trying to take the camp away, but yep, a little chance of that happening. Actually, he takes it with his Holy Ground. He takes the camp. Now Monster Bear, and they're just trying to make sure that they're not dying here, but they get a triple kill out of this. Rhaegar, Tychus, and Tyrael are all dead. 19 versus 16. They're jumping into the shrine in the mid lane and attempt to get this one now. The camp was stolen away by Tyrael with his dying breath, so to say. He just said, alright, I'm at least gonna get that, and dropped the Holy Ground to actually steal it. But besides that, they couldn't really do anything here. This is going to be another Punisher. Actually, the first Punisher? Yeah. Yeah, it's actually the first Punisher for the Outlaws. First Punisher, and I mean, this is a... I would call it a late-game Punisher here. We're close to level 20, so yeah, in terms of like time, it's only 15 minutes in, but still. It's one of the beauty, actually, of Heroes of the Storm, that games are just this fast-paced. I mean, we're looking at 27 kills here, and we are 15 minutes in with another big battle happening before level 20 is ready. This is a chance, maybe, for the Thunderkittens, but no, the Punisher is down. Lichterloh moves out. The Punisher is there, could jump to assist. That Palm didn't make any sense, in my opinion. Monster Bear a little bit trigger-happy with that, so he can't save Sonya because of it. Wasn't cooldown. Sonya and Zool both die, and that will make that Punisher a pretty weak push. I guess it could theoretically take down that keep, but not if it jumps in the wrong direction. That Punisher needs Google Maps. Wrong direction, dude. To the left. To the left. That's where the core is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Right there. Yeah, but that keep is not going to fall. I think that option has expired. That's not going to happen. The level 20 talents are now ready. It was a bit unfortunate that Karazim did not wait longer with his own Palm. If he wouldn't have thrown it on himself, and it was not even close to getting triggered, then I suppose... Maybe it was a misclick. Maybe he just wanted to click a different hero. But if he would have been able to save Sonya, this could have been a very different fight. I mean, right now, as is, we have Mortal Wound taken for Zul. He went on 13 into the Decrepify, so it's another talent that you oftentimes try to just like mix up or like add up if you go into a Mortal Wound. We're having at the same time no talent taken yet for ETC. I mean, there's so much to choose from. Death Metal, Turbars, you can go into like the Blink. Bowl of the Storm alone is already a fantastic option for mobility in general. And if you just like bolt in and then mosh pit, you are finding yourself in a perfect spot. Li Ming went into the Repulsion after she went straight into the Wave of Force on level 10. And we haven't really talked too much about the Li Ming build, but of course we are seeing right now Illusionist plus also the Calamity taken for the damage output. And when it comes to damage, Li Ming has 70k. So as we said, it's not really as easy as on other maps to get that damage in when you're playing on this map in particular, but Ice Cream is definitely making the plays here. 70,000 damage, that's solid damage output there for sure. Besides that, we're still seeing ETC being chased, but Lichterloh should be able to escape this one. Monster Bear is already jumping and trying to help out. And guess what? It's a mosh pit, baby! But it's also a sanctification, and that changes the play a little bit. Great heal onto Ice Cream. The palm is also there. Lichterloh is exploding. Double kill here. ETC is dead, and so is Tyrael. Phantom is saving himself. Duck sees him, could take him down, goes in with a funnel, gets Howling Blasted. Where is that Ancient Spear? Can't go for it because everybody joined up with Arthas. So it's an exchange in kills, a kill for a kill, but the mid lane is still being pressured. So they are starting to put this in quite heavily with that camp earlier. There's a second camp joining up too. And with the Shrine active in another 10 minutes, I guess the ThunderKittens are going to have enough time to deep-push that before they go for the Shrine fight. But it's another fight where they are down a talent. In the last one, they were already lacking the Storm talents, and right now, this is going to be the exact same picture. Because we are looking at 20 versus 16 when it comes to talents alone. They're starting to go in here, and they're going for Tyrael, but Monster Bear is again very low. Palm in another 3 seconds ready. Devil already moving away. Look at Greymane, he's out of the fight for sure for now. And Duck is just going straight in. The Palm could at any moment. Arthas is already dead, and Sonya! Oh, massive damage together with Li Ming. They get the kill against Tychus as well. Great repulsion chosen to just push Rhaegar back. And that's a triple kill, baby. So they get this one, and now they can just like simply go for the keep in the middle of the map. Costa is there, very little that he can do about it. Monster Bear is also joining up, and he just like can heal the entire team. That's the first thing that he does. Dashes in and hits, of course, his Echo of Heaven there. Well done, good job. Keep is gone. Even going into the sanctification there, I'm not quite sure if that was a smart idea. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Costa is also going to fall to the Bone Prison, and they are going for a core. They're trying to end it right now. The opponent isn't even level 20 yet, and with 22 kills against 13, it looks like the Outlaws are going to advance to the semi-final. Great play here. Outlaws with a play. They're going for the core. It's not over just yet, but of course, as you can already tell, they won't be able to turn this around any longer. Well played. GG. The ThunderKittens are out of the tournament, as we are seeing the Outlaws win the game and advance to the next round of the ZOTAC Cup Monthly Final.